Hey everyone, I'm going to talk to you about my game 2 at the WTC. I'm going over my games, sort of mentally running through them. Did I do something wrong? Is there something I could learn from them? Now, the first round, my team had lost to the French, and that meant that we got pushed all the way down to the bottom tables, and we were facing off against Spain 4 or 5, which was like a ringer team. It wasn't a top team at all. Um, we go down, we get the matchups. We were playing sectors, and I get faced off against Reloka. I hadn't met him before, but a very nice player, very nice to play against. I did not, however, I have to say this, I did not enjoy this game at all. Um, not because of Reloka, he was perfectly fine, but because of what happened. And I'll I'll tell you all about it, but basically there's one thing that really bugs me in bolt action, and that is multi-launchers, and Reloka had 3 of them. So here we go. Game 2 of the WTC 2024. I was playing sectors versus Reloka. I had my standard. I had British, Up and Atom, 4 Gurkhas, 2 Stewards, 4 early war motorcycles, land mattress, medium mortar, forward artillery observer, all the jazz. Reloka was playing Germans, and he had 3 multi-launchers. So he had 2 Nebelwerfers and a Panzerwerfer. Something like that, anyway. I mean, one of the Nebelwerfers might have been a Howling Cow. Don't remember. Anyways, he also had a 250/9 with an autocannon and a Flampanzer Flamingo. And then he had loads of small regular units of infantry with assault rifles, LMGs, single Faust in each of them, which, by the way, I forgot about. Um, but I mean, sectors is really my game. I love playing sectors. I'm really good at it. I know how to play this. I have exactly the right plan to do this. I was so confident going into this game that I would win it. And then multi-launchers started happening. So the plan was, and it's always going to be this plan. That's the plan I've been playing like again and again and again. I push the enemy sector. Um, I saw Reloka's list, and I knew that he was going to deploy some units that couldn't really move. All his multi-launchers, not very movable. His Nebelwerfer and his Howling Cow, his medium mortar, none of that is very movable. And he placed it all in his deployment down here. He by the way, I get to choose sector, so I choose this one over here. I'll tell you why in a minute. He got this one over here, and and he places his fixed artillery pieces, his multi-launchers. I was so happy about that, because that meant that not only was he at 15 order dice, I was at 16. All of mine is movable. All of mine is movable. Every single unit can move. He now had 3 units at least, which couldn't go nowhere. They were going to sit there. So I was suddenly 15 movable units against 12. That, in a placement mission like sectors, is a bad way to start for Reloka. So I knew I was going to win. I wanted to push all my stuff against the center and straight into his zone. And if he defended, if he pulled in his reserves here, he was not going to score with them. So I really wanted him actually to pull in his reserves here. He didn't do it much. He did a little bit, but not too much. I chose this sector over here because there was a lot of ruins that I could hide behind and be a little bit away from other units of my own, which meant that his many multi-launchers couldn't get that many targets at the same time. Unfortunately, I also take a little bit of a risk. I place my own multi-launcher down here behind this wall. I thought, this is pretty safe. I'm in hard cover. I'm hidden. Yeah, okay, he might shoot his multi-launchers at me. Good luck with that. First turn, he gets a 6. And I think it was from his medium mortar or whatever. He hit me. He killed me. My medium mortar was also down here somewhere. That also got killed. I mean, already there, I'm down 2 order dice. And then what happens is he starts shooting his multi-launchers at the Gurkhas over here and starts hitting again. As soon as I bring in my reserves, he also starts hitting them. So I ended up losing 7 units to multi-launchers. 7 units. I lost 1 unit to a flamethrower because his flamingo ended up coming down here. Let me show you. His flamingo moves in here against the places where I have placed. You can see this would be my deployment, these round blue circles, right? He pushes his flamingo, his infantry, his 250/9, all of that he pushes in here, and the Panzerwerfer as well, and he just starts hitting with all those rolling for sixes. He starts hitting me. I can't do a thing about it. Now, I know that I want to push his backline, so I start running motorcycles in up along this flank. He can't stop me, so he brings in his Brandenburgers up here. They had a single Panzerfaust going to try and stop something. They never really do. I make one major mistake because Relaka had pushed a small unit, 5 men, up here along this hedge here. And I push a Stuart up against it, thinking they're just 5 regulars. I can do whatever. And I shot some of the other units. And then I found out that they've got a Panzerfaust and I'm right in front of them. Oh no. So 2+ to hit. He hits me, he kills me. Boom. Away goes my Stuart. My other Stuart pushes in here against the center and pushes further on into his zone. The surviving Gurkhas, not a lot of them, I have to admit, 2 very depleted units push into his zone as well. My motorcycles, the ones that are not immobilized from all the multi-launchers, push into his zone. And at that point, Relaka cannot push enough into my zone. He kills more autodice than me, but he cannot get the points because his own units are locked down here. So I knew I was going to win. I knew this almost from the start, but he really shot me to pieces with all those multi-launchers. So what decided the game? I forgot about that Faust. Had I remembered about that Faust, I would have shot that one unit, killed them or pinned them, or at least done something to them. I would have shot all my shots at that one unit, basically. I deployed first. All my dice came out first, which also meant that he could actually get a little bit of sight onto my units, which meant that he did get some multi-rocket launcher shots. So that was bad. Perhaps I should have defended. Like, let's go back to should I perhaps have run one of my stewards in here to defend my own zone against all of his Panzerwerfer and his Flamingo and his infantry? Perhaps it might have moved up into cover here and moved on. At that point I was losing so many units in this area here to multi-launchers that I really didn't want to risk not having enough to push into his zone. So I ended up choosing to push against his zone with everything I had, losing one of the stewards in the process, which was not good. But I think it would have been beneficial to have one steward defending my own zone, and then it could push maybe through the center or into the neutral zones, whatever. So this game was not enjoyable for me because multi-launchers is one of the things you feel like you can do very little against them. If your opponent is really lucky, roll 6s, your unit goes away. If he's unlucky, well, nothing happens. What are you going to do? There's no tactical skill there, and that annoyed me. With this game, I knew I had him, I knew my plan was good, and my plan worked, but he still murdered me on kill dice. I don't like games like that. I have to admit, I really don't. I would like the games to have the player who has the best plan winning. And it really, it did happen. Yes, I had the best plan. I had the plan. I knew how to win. I won, but I didn't win actually. It was a draw, but I was up. Yeah, multi-rocket launchers and mortars, not maneuverable. He should never have deployed them the way he did. Relocka spread out, which is always a bad mistake against armies that are mobile as mine. And he had no defense, right? There was none of his units that could really stand up in a fight. So I knew that if I could push him, I would win. However, he killed so many of my units that the game actually ended in a draw. I think we were 2 points from each other. I think I killed 5 of his, he killed 9 of mine or something like that. And then he pushed into my zone, I pushed into his zone, and we tallied up the points. And we were not far enough apart. I can't remember if he was ahead or if I was ahead. I think I was, but I'm not sure anymore. But we weren't far enough apart for the draw to become a win for one of us. I fucking hate multi-launchers. Sorry, I just do. Um, and looking back at Reloca's success over the weekend, I can confidently say you might get single games where you have luck, like he did against me, where he just bashes a really good top player into oblivion. But over the weekend, he lost games. He lost many games. Reloca didn't come in the top 20 at all. So, so I don't think that a noob basher multi-rocket launcher spam list is good for you. Yeah, that was my second game. So 2 draws I'm on at this point. I am not happy with the way things are going. Fortunately, we won this round against the Spanish, not due to me, but to some of the other players. So I was okay with that. I was just, yeah, I wanted that win. I desperately wanted that win. I really did. Right. See you next time where I talk about game 3.